Welcome to AI Dispatch, your channel for the latest AI videos on YouTube. If you don't want to miss these updates, please like, subscribe, and share. Today's video comes from Latent Space, featuring insights from Andrew White, co-founder of Edison Scientific. White delivers a technical reality check on computational chemistry. He states that molecular dynamics is overrated, that custom silicon lost to machine learning in protein folding, and that the bottleneck in scientific discovery has shifted from hypothesis generation to empirical verification. His framework restructures how we evaluate compute requirements, scientific intuition, and the economics of discovery. Andrew White, co-founder of Edison Scientific, presented a series of technical arguments that dismantle conventional assumptions about how computational resources should be allocated in scientific research. His position holds that the industry has systematically overinvested in physics-based simulation while underestimating the power of data-driven approaches. White's first technical claim targets the resource allocation decisions in computational chemistry and biology. The field is operated under the assumption that solving complex biological problems requires modeling every atom from first principles. Molecular dynamics and density functional theory represent the gold standard methodologies, consuming enormous computational budgets. White argues these methods are overrated, not because the physics is wrong, but because they optimize for elegance rather than predictive power. He estimates that before ChatGPT emerged, approximately 20% of global computing power was dedicated to simulating water molecules. Despite this massive investment, these simulations frequently fail to capture real-world complexity in catalysts or biological tissues because they tune parameters to fit models rather than discover new physics. The resource misallocation here is striking. Massive compute devoted to beautiful simulations that cannot predict messy reality. This leads to a specific engineering case study that contradicts the hardware-centric worldview. D.E. Shaw Research represented the ultimate physics-first approach to protein folding. They designed custom silicon chips, built specialized supercomputer architecture, and burned molecular dynamics algorithms directly into hardware. This was brute force physics at industrial scale, backed by unlimited funding. White notes they lost decisively. AlphaFold won using machine learning trained on X-ray crystallography data, ignoring atomic motion physics entirely. The paradigm inversion is complete. A method that can now run on Google Colab defeated custom fabricated supercomputers. White calls this the bitter lesson on steroids, demonstrating that humans consistently misjudge which problems require massive compute versus which can be solved efficiently by learning from data. White's analysis of the scientific process itself inverts traditional assumptions about where value originates. The conventional bottleneck model positions hypothesis generation as the scarce resource, requiring genius-level scientists to formulate breakthrough ideas. White argues this model is obsolete. In the AI era, generating hypotheses is computationally trivial. The new constraint is verification through empirical testing. His Robin project provides empirical evidence for this inversion. When AI proposed therapeutic targets for eye disease, human experts ranked the hypotheses by perceived quality. The hypothesis experts rated highest failed in the lab. The hypothesis that succeeded, leading to a viable repurposed drug, was one human intuition largely dismissed. This data point suggests expert scientific taste correlates with social acceptability within the field rather than experimental success. We are entering a regime where empirical verification must override senior scientist intuition because human judgment is statistically decoupled from what actually works in complex biological systems. White's perspective on AI safety in scientific contexts challenges the standard threat model. The popular narrative treats AI danger as teaching terrorists secret formulas for bioweapons. White argues this misunderstands where friction exists in the system. The intellectual knowledge for synthesizing dangerous compounds already exists on Wikipedia. The barrier is not information access. The real dual-use risk lies in automating mundane logistics, passing Know Your Customer checks to purchase restricted equipment, navigating procurement protocols, managing bureaucratic barriers that currently provide friction. AI danger is not teaching you how to build a weapon. It is streamlining the boring administrative steps that prevent you from acquiring necessary materials. The threat is automated bureaucracy management, not secret knowledge transfer. White's ontological claim about chemistry itself represents a radical departure from disciplinary norms. A chemist defines a molecule using graphs, 3D structures, or electron density mathematics. White argues the future representation is natural language. To a physicist, this sounds absurd. His reasoning is pragmatic. Attempting to model a molecule perfectly creates an infinite regress. You need the graph, then the 3D conformer, then electron density, then relativistic effects, eventually requiring cosmic background radiation. You exhaust computational resources before fully defining the object. Natural language provides the only universal interface capable of binding code, mathematical weights, literature, and experimental results together. The fuzziness of language is a feature, not a bug, allowing integration across data silos that rigorous mathematics cannot connect. White is betting his companies on this principle. White applies economic inversion logic to the future role of scientists themselves. The standard fear holds that automating science eliminates scientists' jobs. White invokes Jevons paradox. Unlike taxi driving, where passenger demand has natural limits, demand for scientific discovery has no upper bound. Automating discovery loops will not reduce scientists' numbers, but transform their function into what he calls cosmos wranglers. The shift moves scientists from executing experiments to directing and consuming automated discovery systems. Even if AI performs the work, science remains fundamentally human-centric because it requires human appreciation to generate value. We do not just want answers, we want explanations. The automation changes the scientist's role from doer to director, but does not eliminate the position. White's framework consistently rejects romantic views of science, whether genius with whiteboard or beautiful simulation, betting entirely on messy empirical reality. His position holds that once we stop attempting to simulate the universe perfectly and instead learn directly from its data, solving the hardest biological problems will drop from billion-dollar budgets to the cost of a few GPU hours. The operational principle is clear. Trust nature's computer through empirical verification over human intuition. Because in complex systems, expert judgment does not predict experimental outcomes. If experts cannot reliably predict which hypotheses will succeed, and if empirical verification operates outside human intuition, are we prepared to delegate discovery direction to systems that function beyond our cognitive frameworks? If you're interested in the video featured in this episode, click the link below to watch the original.